Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So in this video we are going to learn about the virtual memory and demand paging. Okay, so first of all, what is the need of demand paging? So before going to know the need of the demand paging, we have to know about the virtual memory. Suppose when the process is loaded to the main memory, then the entire process may not be used in the main memory. Only some part of the uh, particular process is used, and the remaining process is present in the main memory is wasted, right? So in order to reduce that wastage, and if you reduce that wastage, uh, you can load some of the other programs to run in the main memory, right? So we know that the logical address space is greater than the physical address. That means the secondary memory is always greater than the main memory. The main memory is having the limited space to execute the programs. Okay, so some of the programs will be waiting outside the main memory for the execution. So when the main memory becomes free, then the waiting programs will be entering to the main memory to execute, right? So here the program A and program B are executing in the main memory, and only some part of the programs are portion of the programs are used for the uh, are mostly used for the execution, and the remaining part just occupies the space in the main memory. Okay, so in order to uh, reduce the wastage of the main memory, and to uh, at the same time, so we are going to allow the new process to execute in the main memory. So for that one, so we are using a secondary storage device. Okay, so whatever the process that we are not using in the particular program, they are swapped out to the secondary storage device. Okay, and the some of the programs which are needed to execute in the main memory are swapped into the main memory. So this is somewhat similar to the swapping. Okay, so in the case of swapping, we are going to swap the entire process, but here we are going to swap the pages. Okay, so process, so in the pages we are we are going to divide the process into multiple number of pages, right? So we are going to swap the pages to the secondary storage device. Okay, so some of the portion of the program is not needed for execution, right? So that part is swapped out into the secondary storage device, and whenever needed they will be swapped in. Okay, so in order to utilize the main memory more, and to allocate the free space for the remaining waiting process, so we are going to use the concept here called demand paging. Okay, so where we are going to demand the pages here from the secondary storage device or virtual memory. Okay, so virtual memory means the secondary storage device or the hard disk. Okay, so here the virtual memory is a technique. It allows the execution of a process even the logical address space is greater than the physical available memory. Okay, the advantage of the virtual memory is efficient memory. Main memory utilization is possible, and the programs can be loaded partially in the main memory, so more programs could be run at the same time. So efficient CPU utilization and better throughput is possible through the virtual memory. So virtual memory makes the task of programming much easier, because the programmer no longer needs to worry about the amount of physical memory available. So even though the main memory is small, so we can execute the number of programs in the main memory by using the with the help of the virtual memory, and by using the demand paging technique here. So demand paging is the application of the virtual memory. So it is the combination of the paging and swapping. Okay, so here the main criteria is a page is not loaded to the main memory, is not loaded in the main memory from secondary memory until it is needed. So a page is loaded to the main memory only on demand. So with this scheme, it is said to be the demand paging. Okay, So it could bring the entire process into memory at a load time. Okay, so we have seen in the previous example that so some part of the program only use it for the execution and the remaining part is just occupying the space in main memory. So we are swapping out the process, the pages from the program A to the hard disk and swapping in the other program to the main memory. So it is going to bring a page into the memory only when it is needed. That means it is going to demand the pages from the secondary storage device whenever there is a need. So here some portion is not needed for execution. So while if there is a need of that portion for execution, then it is demanded from the secondary storage device to the main memory for the execution. Okay. So here using the demand paging, so it needs less input output and there is no unnecessary input output. So less memory is needed and there is a faster response. Okay, and more number of users can use the main memory for execution. Okay, so this is a combination of the paging and swapping. So this is a combination of the paging and swapping. So if a page is needed, then we can reference it in the secondary storage device. Okay, so if there is a invalid reference, then abort that one, and if it is not in the main memory, then fetch it to the main memory. So here if the page is needed, then a reference to the particular page. That means we have to check the main memory. Okay, so if there is an invalid reference, then abort that search. Okay, or else if it is not in the main memory, then bring it to the main memory from the secondary memory. Okay, so if a bit is present in the main memory, then it is said to be valid bit, or else it is said to be invalid bit. It is said to be invalid, or if there is an error in the address, then it is also said to be an invalid bit. Okay, so in the lazy swapper, demand paging is also called as a lazy swapper because it never swaps the page into the memory unless the page is needed. Okay, so here in the main memory, if the particular here the process is divided into pages and only some pages of the process are there in the main memory and the remaining are in the secondary memory. Okay, so whenever the page is needed to execute in the main memory, then only at that time only it is going to fetch it to the main memory. So that's why, so whenever the pages are needed, then it is going to swap to the main memory. That's why it is called as a lazy swapper. So whenever it needs only, it is fetching that pages from the secondary memory. So swapper that deals with the pages is called a pager. Okay, so here we are demand paging is a concept of both the pages and swapping. So in the swapping, we are going to swap only the process. We are going to swap the entire process, but in this case, we are going to swap only the pages here. Okay, so we are dividing the process into number of pages, and that pages are swapped to the main memory. Okay, so swapped between the secondary and main memory. So next one, so valid or invalid bit. Okay, so with each page table entry, a valid invalid bit is associated here. So valid means so the bit is present in the main memory. If the given one is invalid, then it is not in memory. So initially valid invalid bit is set to I on all entries. So example of a page table snapshot is given here. Okay, so if a particular bit is available in the main memory, it is a valid one, or else it is an invalid bit. So during the memory management unit address translation, if valid invalid bit in page table entry is I, then it is a page fault. Okay, suppose so while executing some program, so if some of the instructions are not available in the main memory, then they have to fetch it from the secondary memory. So while executing the particular process. So if the pages are not available with the invalid reference, then there occurs a page fault. Okay, so here, so there is a figure of the page table when some pages are not in the main memory. Okay, so here they have given the logical address with the page table. Okay, so here the memory frames 4, 6 and memory frames 4, 6 and 9 are occupied here. Okay, so that's why they are indicated with the valid bit. So remaining are indicated with the invalid bit. That means they are free and they are not occupied here. Okay, so here the 4, 6 and 9 are occupied with the A, C and F. So the remaining frames, that is B, D, E, G, H are not there in the main memory. So they are in the secondary memory. So whenever the CPU needs the particular pages in the logical memory, particular pages, then it will swap the pages from the secondary memory to the main memory. Okay, so page fault. So why the page fault occurs? So if there is a reference to a page in the main memory, so in the first reference to that page, it will trap to the OS. That is the page fault. So operating system looks at another table to decide. So if there is an invalid reference, it aborts. Okay, so if it is not in memory, then it will fetches from the secondary memory. Okay, so here this is the process of how to handle the page fault. Okay, so if there is a reference and if the particular page is not available in the main memory, then there is a trap is sent to the OS and the page fault will occur. Okay, so in the case of the page fault, how to solve the page fault means, so internally the OS will be handling a page table, that is the internal page table, internal table. So whenever there is a trap to the OS, okay, the OS will look into the internal table. Okay, so if there is an invalid bit only, the page fault will occur, right? So if there is an indication of I, then the page fault will occur, right? So at that time, so it will send the trap to the OS and the OS will search the internal table here. Okay, so it will search the another table called as internal table. Okay, so it will check, and if it finds that the given the needed process, so the needed page is valid and it is not in main memory, then the OS gets the empty frame. So OS will find the free frame in the main memory and it will swap the page into the frame via the scheduled disk operation. That means it is going to swap it is going to get a free frame in the physical memory and it is going to swap if the main memory is full and there is no free frame, then it will swap some data out of the main memory and fetches the page to the main memory. If suppose there is a free frames, then it will select the free frame, it will find the free frame and it will swap the page from the secondary memory to the main memory. Okay, and then it will reset the table to indicate the page now in the main memory with the validation bit V. Okay, and then restart the instruction that caused the page fault. Okay, so it is going to reset the table here. So here suppose the page B is not available in the main memory and the page fault occurred here. So it searches the page table and the page B is not available in the main memory. So that's why there is since there is the invalid bit, so it gets a page fault. Okay, so then for the page B, so it will search the disk here, the hard disk. So it finds the page B. Okay, so after the trap is sent to the OS, so the OS will search in the internal table and finds that the given address is valid and it is not in the main memory, the page is not in the main memory. So that's why OS finds the empty frame in the physical memory, okay, and swaps the page to the main memory from the secondary disk. So that it will swap the page B to the main memory, and it will update the page table with the valid bit. So it will update the, suppose here the page B is loaded to the it is loaded to the location number 2. Okay, so here it is available. So in the location 2 we are going to load the B. Okay, so then we are going to save the location 2 here in the 1. Okay, so here we are going to store. Okay, in the location 1 we are going to, in the page table location 1 we are going to store the 2, that is the frame number and the corresponding page number. So for the page number 1, right, so this is the page number 1, so which is available now in the main memory is copied to the page number 1 with the frame number 2. Okay, and now it is the invalid bit is set to the valid bit. So it is set to valid bit, and we are going to restart this particular instruction for execution. Okay, so restart the instruction that caused the page fault. Okay, so in the virtual memory, so we are having the, when the process starts executing, so it is possible to start executing the process even though the no page is in the memory. So in that case, so even for the first instruction there is a page fault. So when all the needed pages are brought into memory, there are no more page faults. So this is called a pure demand paging, and a page of the process is never brought into memory until it is required. Okay, so here we are having the steps in handling a page fault. Okay, so first there is a reference from the main memory to the page table. That means it will check whether the particular page is so it is going to is invalid bit, then it will send a trap to the operating system, search in its internal table and finds that it is the address is valid but it is not available in the main memory. So it will set, so it will send the, so it will start searching the hard disk here. So in the hard disk it will find the page and it brings the the page to the main memory here. Okay, so it will find the free frame and fetches the page to the main memory, and then it will reset the page table. That means it will mark the invalid page table, invalid reference to valid in the page table, and then again it will restart the particular instruction. Okay, so here we want to load the instruction M. So for that we have done the page for the we have handled the page fault process here. Okay, so aspects of the demand paging. So in the extreme case we start the process with no pages in the memory. Okay, so OS sets the instruction pointer to the first instruction of process, that is a non-memory resident. That means, so we can, so in the worst case, so a process can start without any page in the main memory. Okay, without no page in the main memory. So at that time, for the first instruction itself, it gets the page fault. Okay, since there is no page in the main memory. Suppose I want to execute a process A and there is no page in the main memory, right? So at that time, for the first instruction itself, it got a page fault. And for every other process, pages on first axis. Okay, so that is called as a pure demand paging. That means we are going to fetch each and every page of the process A from the secondary storage device to the main memory. Okay, so that a page of a process is never brought into the memory until it is required. So that is called as a pure demand paging. So for each and every page we are going to demand the hard disk for the to swap the page to the main memory. So actually a given instruction could access multiple pages, like a multiple page faults may occur. So consider fetch and decode of instruction which adds two numbers from the memory and stores the result back to the main memory. So pain decreased because of the locality of reference. So we're considering the fetch and decode of an instruction that adds two numbers from the memory and stores the result to the main memory. So a given instruction could get the could access multiple pages that may lead to, that can handle the multiple page faults here. Okay, so here the programs can have the locality of reference, that is when a particular region of a process is being executed, then pages corresponding to that region alone will be used. For example, if a particular subroutine is executed, the pages corresponding to that subroutine alone will be executed. Thus it is enough to have only these pages in the physical memory during that time. This is the reason for the success of the demand paging here. Okay, suppose if I'm executing the page and the process A here, the process A. Okay, so in the concept of the locality of reference, if a particular process is executed, process A is executed, then there is a chance, okay, so there is a chance that the corresponding pages to that particular process only will get executed here. Okay, so process A is having 10 pages here. Okay, so then there is a chance of executing that 10 pages only in the main memory. Okay, so thus it is enough to have only these pages in the physical memory during the execution time. So this is the locality reference is the main key point for the success of the demand paging here. So stays in the demand. If the instruction is not available in the main memory, then it sends a trap to the OS and saves the user registers on process state, and it will determine the interrupt as a page fault. Okay, and it will check the whether it will check in the internal table whether the page reference was legal or not, and if it is legal, then it will check the hard disk. Okay, so it will issue a read from the hard disk, and it will it will find a free frame in the main memory. So then it will, while waiting, it allocates the CPU to some other user, right, while fetching the frame from the disk to the main memory and searching the disk in the frame. So in that process it is going to allocate the CPU to other process, so in order to utilize the CPU more. Okay, so it will receive an interrupt from the disk IO system, and it will say the register and the process state for the other user, and it will determine the interrupt was from the disk, and then it will correct the page table. So it will swap the data into the main memory, and then it will correct the page table and other tables to show pages is now in memory, and then it will restore the registers, and then it will restart the instruction which is loaded newly to the main memory. Okay. So here three main activities are service the interrupt, read the page, and restarting the process. That means we have to service the interrupt. So if the invalid bit is available in the main memory, then we are going to swap the swapping process and fetch the frame and the required page to the main memory, and then read the page. So so to check the page in the hard disk, it takes a lot of time, and restarting the process after setting the the page as valid in the page table, we have to restart the process. So these are the three main activities of the demand paging. So here, if the page fault rate is 0, okay, So if the page fault rate if the page fault rate is 0, then there is no page fault, and if the page fault is 1, every reference is a fault. Okay, so here we are going to denote the page fault rate from 0 to 1. Okay, the effective access time of the page in the case of the demand paging. So effective access time is equal to 1 minus p, that is the page fault rate, into memory access. Okay, plus p into page fault overhead plus swap page out and page in. So for the effective access time of the demand paging, so plus 1 minus p. So 1 minus p means if there is no page fault, right? So if there is no page fault, then we are going to directly access the main memory and we can fetch the particular page we needed. If suppose the page is not there in the main memory, then page fault overhead, then we have to search the particular page in the secondary memory and then swap out the page to the main memory, and then if there is no free frame in the that one, swap out that particular page to the secondary memory and swap in the desired page to the main memory. So this is how we calculate the effective access time of the demand paging. So this is about the demand paging. Okay, and thanks for watching my video. Thank you.